Thank you. I'll take just a moment to explain a little bit about what the CVB does. I think hopefully most of you know, but if not, I get the distinct privilege and honor to market this great city that most of us live in, or at least near, and I'm extremely passionate about that, and I hope that that comes across in everything that we do and sell. And so we manage a lot of facilities and some assets here in downtown Little Rock, especially including the River Market, the State House Convention Center next door, and the Robinson Center and the Music Hall. So we have a huge facility side where we're managing those assets and we're bringing people in, and we have lots of meetings and events, and we're dealing with local events. We're dealing with clients coming in from out of town. And then our other arm is to market and sell the city and bring more people into the city to sleep in our hotel rooms, to eat in our restaurants, and really provide a huge economic boost. And that is an extremely rewarding field. The travel and tourism industry is an extremely rewarding field, mainly because we can feel like we are touching and helping all of those around us in the community. And I say that because our 2010 research for the meetings and tourism industry, there was 1.7 million jobs in that industry in the U.S., and that exceeded $263 billion in annual spending. Here locally, bringing it closer to home, in central Arkansas alone in 2010, there were 14,000 jobs in the travel and tourism industry and 336 million in payroll, and then 1.6 billion in direct spending. So we feel like we have a huge say and part of that, and so that's what makes our organization a little bit different, but very, very rewarding. I totally agree with, the fact that you really have to, A, play the positive, and B, play up your assets. Little Rock, as many of you know or maybe don't know, when we go out into the community and when we're talking with meeting planners or we're talking with other organizations and we're trying to recruit them here to Little Rock, oftentimes their first thought is Little Rock, with kind of a question mark, because they may not know how great the area is. And of course, that's our favorite part of the job, is to be able to sell them and bring them in and teach them the great community that we have here. But the other thing that we do is we play on a much larger playing field. So our competitive set are cities that are 2 and 3 and 4 times as large as us. And some of the examples, we go head to head with the Birminghams, with the Kansas Cities, with the Fort Worth, Texas. So we're kind of the little guy in the playing field oftentimes, but we really have to focus on those positive aspects that we have. And, one of those is simply our people. We sell our people all the time. We have what we hope is great Southern charm and great people that interact with our visitors, and they really feel that. We have a lot of the metropolitan assets of a larger city here, but just on a little bit smaller scale, and that's comfortable for people. And so we really sell that, and we really have to focus on what our assets are and not focus on, what the deterrents are or what the negatives are, but figure out a way to put a positive spin on that. Case in point, our Little Rock National Airport, for a lot of groups, there's not enough lift. There's not enough seats that fly into Little Rock, but our positive spin on that is it is so convenient. You fly into Chicago and you take a 30 to 45 minute taxi ride into your hotel. Here we can tell them, in traffic, you might be looking at about an 8-minute ride. And for meeting planners and groups, that's a huge selling point. So, we really learn to spin the positive on, whatever your weaknesses are. And first and foremost, you should know what your weaknesses are, whether it's you're going after a big client and, you have to go in knowing what they're going to perceive your weaknesses are and be ready to spin that positive. And we've had lots of success stories with that, whether it be us landing the NCAA men's basketball tournament, and we were one of the smallest cities to be able to land that, and we partnered with North Little Rock to do that at Verizon Arena in 2008, to landing the largest African-American fraternity with Omega Psi-Phi in 2006, and I believe one of you talked about leveraging some of those big wins. We leverage them every day, and that gets us our foot in the door for the next one. We go to the next fraternity and they say, you hosted Omega? And we said, absolutely. They loved it. They fit. And now we're ready to host you. And so, I can't agree more. Try to leverage those big wins, but definitely take the negatives, turn them into positives.
Okay. Well, Aristotle is a little bit of a unique company as well. We're an interactive media agency, and we're also an internet service provider, and that combination is not often found even in our industry. On the internet service provider side, we offer broadband wireless, dial-up, hosting services, basically internet connectivity and hosting and email. On the marketing side, on the interactive agency side, we actually do a whole range of services that includes website design, iPhone app development, iPad app development. We do marketing, brochure work, television commercials, etc. So we have a very broad service offering. And the challenge for us in this particular industry, honestly, in part, is our location. When we started in 1995, most of our clients came from Arkansas. By about 2001, that started to shift, and today I would say 60 to 65% of our clients are actually outside the state. And the way we did that was by positioning ourselves as an expert. We started with the state of Arkansas. We got that contract in 2000 to do the tourism site for the state of Arkansas, and we kept very good records of the successes of that site. The fact is that the state of Arkansas Department of Tourism website receives more traffic than much larger sites on a much smaller budget. We do a lot of work for them to make sure that their pay-per-click spends, that their spends for search engine optimization, that everything that they do actually results to the bottom line, because every 2 years they have to go to the legislature and justify what they spent, and we give them the tools to do that. And that put us in a very good position to go sell the state of Kentucky and sell the state of South Carolina and say, look, you can have these results too. And so that's part of what we do is we have successes, we create very good track of them, we create case studies, and then we market them like Gretchen does to other similarly situated potential clients. The other thing we do is that we have 2 or 3 people who we position as experts in various industry segments, and we speak constantly all over the country. Because in our industry, if people know you, I mean, imagine tomorrow you have to go find somebody to do a website for you. You have the kid in the garage who's your uncle's third cousin who could do this for you for $5. And then you have your ad agency that does all your ad work, and they're like, oh, no big deal, it's just like a brochure, I can do that for you. And then you have interactive agencies of varying sizes, and we're one of the larger ones in Little Rock, but we're actually relatively small nationwide. Then you have niche companies that all they do are doctors, all they do are colleges, all they do are specific niches. We've never done that as a company. We made a strategic decision not to be a niche company. So, but we're competing against companies who are going to say that they know you better than we do because they understand your specific business. So those are our challenges, and the way we meet that is by positioning ourselves as an expert. We speak on social media, we speak on effective website design, we go to national conferences in industries where we're particularly strong, like tourism, and talk about what they need to be doing and what are the trends and how are things changing and how are the industries shifting. Then we take our experience in tourism and we transport it. Let's say you want to go to a university. We're going to bid on a university website. What's the difference between choosing Little Rock as a destination for your conference and choosing Lyon College as the university you want to go to? And I picked that college because we designed their website. But in any event, the answer is not much. A college is a destination just like a tourism agency. And so being able to take our relevant experience in one industry and show how it is similar in other industries is another way that we've been able to grow the business. I guess that's it for that question.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm going to jump in there and tell you the next question is, what is the most surprising thing you wish you had known before starting work in this area? And just to go first, and then I'll turn it over. I don't think that it says this area. I don't think the surprise for me was, something about marketing research. We work for lots of different kinds of businesses, hospitals and banks, and it would be easy to say, well, you have to know a lot of stuff, and that didn't particularly present problems, I don't think. The thing I found hardest was not taking things personally. I think many women, you think when something goes wrong, you could have fixed it, you could have done something better, or if you lose a sale, or if somebody doesn't return your phone call, that you didn't do the right thing. You didn't say the right thing or whatever. One of the surprises that I mentioned to these other folks is that prospects and clients, some of them, not all of them, but some of them don't respond in a timely manner. When they want something, You know, you need to be right there, right then, and get it right to them. And so, I think I didn't realize that that was as much of an issue. The people that I know, and part of this successful people, the most successful people I know, and I had an opportunity because my husband was in his own business to meet CEOs and men that were, involved in businesses where he was also making contacts. And the most successful men I know were always able to get back and talk to you about something. Now, you take a Mac McClarty, and Mac's reputation for writing notes to people is phenomenal. I mean, that guy writes a personal note. And if you send him a letter, he writes a note back on it and sends it back to you. Those folks who are very successful, they're very good at making you feel important to them. And I just didn't expect my clients and prospects to think I wasn't worth returning a phone call. So what else? What do you all find?
Well, I'll jump in. I think mine's kind of twofold, I guess. I grew up in a household where my mom was in management and she was in leadership, and so that's really all I ever knew. So I thought that was normal. And, I think during her generation, she probably fought way more than what we do now, the generation of the, all men in leadership and that kind of thing. So I saw her break through that glass ceiling, so I never anticipated that I wouldn't be able to. And when I got into the business world, I had a very supportive male boss. So again, I'm chugging along thinking, things are good and times have changed. But at some point, even in a director position, I would hit a brick wall dealing with a few clients that were male that just weren't quite ready for that woman in leadership, and I remember it kind of all hit home, and one of my former bosses, who was a very supportive male, who promoted me into a director position, I remember I was having so much trouble trying to get a response back from one of our male clients, and he didn't understand either, and he just kept saying, I don't understand why they won't respond to you, and finally, it was actually his assistant that said, well, don't you understand? They think she's your secretary, so they don't want to respond to her. And I think that was for the first time, it kind of hit home like, oh, wow, that does still exist. But for me, I had the support from, the nurturing from growing up that I didn't really anticipate there being any glass ceiling problems. And I think that we've gone a long way, and there's, obviously a tremendous amount of women in leadership now. So that may have been the surprising thing for me, that I felt like we were way beyond that, and we are. But there's still a few lingering out there that aren't quite ready for that. And that was probably the one surprising thing.
To add to that, Gretchen, years ago, I was in a meeting, and someone at the end of the meeting asked if I was related to the Flakes in real estate, because that's the husband and brother-in-law that I have. And I said, oh, yeah, John Flake. And she looked at me. She said, I didn't know John had a sister. And I thought, this woman doesn't think I work. She does not think John Flake's wife would have a job. So, I've told that story. And I thought, boy, that's an old story, and it shows years ago. Well, about 6 months ago, I was at a meeting actually with Elizabeth Small over here, and I went in, and somebody asked me if I was related to the Flakes, and I said, yeah, John. And she said, I didn't know John had a sister.